Hello and welcome to episode 179 of the How to Survive podcast. My name is Chris, and joining me, as ever, is Joe.
Hello. That's the Indonesian for hello.
Right. Okay, good. I saw you typing away on your laptop there. I'm glad it was worth it. It's Valentine's Day this week, Joe.
Happy Valentine's Day to you.
Thanks very much. Happy Valentine's Day to you. So I thought, as a treat, let's do a film that we both love dearly.
Yeah. And it's all about love.
Yes.
Love for your family, love for your fellow man,
Yes.
and that special someone in your life.
And that special someone is punching someone repeatedly in the face until their face explodes.
Yeah.
Because this week we are covering Gareth Evans' 2011 film, The Raid.
Raid Redemption in some territories.
Yes, but it is the first of the two The Raid movies.
Yeah. The Raid 2 is the second.
Yes. You'd seen it before?
Yeah, when it was in the cinema is the last time I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
And fond memories.
Yes.
Which were met. My expectations were met again last night.
Yeah, but if you, the listener, have not seen The Raid before, honestly, you should stop this podcast now and go watch it, because it's about 90 minutes and it will be the best 90 minutes of your life, basically.
Yeah. It's non-stop.
Yes. Much like this podcast, Joe, we keep carrying on and on.
Yeah, and it does feel like a kick in the head a bit.
Yeah. And of course, this podcast is chock full of spoilers. So if you haven't seen The Raid, this is your last chance to duck out, to avoid all of those blows, and come back once you've seen the film. But without further ado, The Raid after this.
So the trailer, I'm guessing, is going to be like...
Yeah, it'll be classic foreign movie, as in
there's
no dialogue. Yeah, to hide the fact that this film that stars exclusively Indonesian people is not in English. The bit that I always remember for some reason, like dialogue-wise, is the bit where he's Riyadi, Tama Riyadi, the crime lord. But he says is the bit where he says oh, anyone can stay for free for life or whatever. The language is like senang.
Yeah.
Dan jangan lupa bersenang-senang.
Rama is a rookie member of a unit in the Jakarta Special Forces. Leaving for a mission, he kisses his pregnant wife goodbye and promises his father that he will bring him home.
This is going to end well.
The mission is a tactical raid on a block of flats in the Jakarta slums used as the base of operations for crime lord Tama Riyadi, who, with his lieutenants Andy and Mad Dog, owns the block, letting criminals and junkies around the city rent rooms under his protection.
We're introduced to him executing a group of men.
Yes.
But then he runs out of bullets and uses a hammer.
Yes. Unbeknownst to the rest of the squad, Rama and Andy are brothers. The squad arrive undetected and make it to the 7th floor before the alarm is raised, resulting in an ambush which wipes out all but Rama, his fellow squad mates Bowo and Dagu, Sergeant Jaka and Lieutenant Wayu. Riyadi offers any tenant who helps kill the remaining officers free accommodation for life. Cut off from the rest of the group, Rama hides the badly wounded Bowo in the apartment of what appears to be the sole law-abiding tenant in the building, narrowly avoiding one of the groups of machete-wielding criminals which now roams the halls.
Yeah, they found the one clean shirt, basically.
Yes. Later, Rama attempts to reconnect with his sergeant but is attacked by the machete group, resulting in him killing them all and falling out of a window. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Wayu confesses to Jaka that he staged the mission so he can eliminate Tama, who's in league with corrupt police officials, including himself. The mission is not officially sanctioned by police command, nobody at HQ knows their location, and there is no hope for reinforcements. Riyadi sends Mad Dog and Andy out to help kill the remaining officers. Before he goes, Andy sees that Rama is part of the squad and resolves to help him escape, killing his 2 escorts to maintain his cover. He finds an exhausted Rama and helps him recover. Rama explains that he took the place in the squad in order to find Andy, but Andy refuses to give up his criminal life. Mad Dog finds the other group and Lieutenant Wayu flees. Jacka orders Daegu to protect him and so ends up in a one-on-one fight with Mad Dog, who quickly overpowers and kills him.
That is the best part of the film. I think it's just, I don't know, like, it's just perfect.
The fight scene between Mad Dog and... Yeah,
it's amazing.
it is amazing. Mad Dog meets back up with Andy and reports back to Riyadi, who reveals that he saw Andy and Rama talking on the building's CCTV. Riyadi stabs Andy through the hand and leaves him for Mad Dog to torture and kill. Rama meets back up with Wayu and Daegu, and together they destroy the building's drug production facilities. As they make their way to the top floor to tackle Riyadi, Rama spots Mad Dog torturing Andy and breaks off to save him. Mad Dog allows the pair to fight him in a fair fight and looks to have gained the upper hand before Andy stabs him in the neck with a broken fluorescent light tube. As he loses blood, Andy and Rama eventually overpower and kill him.
But with some effort.
Yeah, Mad Dog is never more mad than when he's
in the death throes. Yeah.
got blood being piped out of him by a 2-foot long shard of glass.
So funny.
Upstairs, Wayu arrests Riyadi before suddenly shooting Daegu dead and demanding that Riyadi help him escape. Riyadi laughs, saying that he and the corrupt police commanders knew about Wayu's raid and allowed it to happen so that Wayu would be killed off. Even if he gets out of the building, his days are numbered. Enraged, Wayu shoots Riyadi and attempts to shoot himself, but he is out of ammunition. Rama and Bowo restrain Wayu and Andy escorts them out of the building. Rama asks Andy to come home, but Andy refuses due to his acclamation to his criminal lifestyle. He turns around and walks back to the apartment block, and Rama exits. And that is how the raid ends.
Yeah, it's some nice, like, intense dance music at the end.
Yeah, it's the music is fantastic throughout, and it's Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park.
You're right, of course.
Joe, what did you think of The Raid?
The only problem that I have with it is that it ends.
Yes.
It's just amazing. Like, everything about it is just so perfectly choreographed. The cinematography is incredible. The story's, like, really good. But above all...
It's just enough story, isn't it?
Right, yeah.
Right.
So it's not just a fight.
Yeah. I heard it described before I'd seen it as 90 minutes of non-stop action, right? But the opening minutes actually is one of the most, like, economical bits of storytelling that I've seen, you know, in terms of the way it outlines the film's emotional core that I've seen in a film like this ever, I think.
A man wakes up conflicted, basically.
Well, no, he wakes up, you see that he's extremely proficient and talented.
You see him, like, working out.
Yeah. You see him pray, so you think, all right, he's a good man.
A man of morals.
Yeah. He's got a pregnant wife, which gives you the like emotional core. You know what he's fighting for, and you want him to survive. And then he says to his father, "I'll bring him home." So you're like, "Who is him?" You know, let's find out. And then after that, it's just
Open
punching for 90 minutes. Right, and it's cheap. In, you know, we often criticize some horror movies for having sort of tropes like, oh, it's sad because you know, he has a wife, or, you know, it's sad if this person dies because they have a family, right? But somehow in this film, I think it works.
Yeah,
perhaps
it's
because
cheap in a horror movie because often it's if at some point in the movie somehow his wife had been killed,
right,
you'd be like, that's horrible.
I guess it's cheap in a horror movie because often they're not the main characters.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's cheap because they end up dying.
Yeah,
and it makes you go, oh, it's really sad that that person has died.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, it's you know.
And there's also an emotional payoff because he gets to tell his brother, "Are you an uncle?"
Yes.
And he's like really happy for him.
Yeah, and that scene is directly, as in the intro scenes, is directly followed by a rather inelegant equivalent outline of the villains, basically, and the
Yeah.
mission, and it reminds me of a video game in the sense that it's, here is the level and here are the bosses that you're going to be fighting
Yeah.
at the end.
Yeah, yeah.
And that is exactly how it is. Basically just
It is a video
dozens
game. Yeah.
dozens of faceless villains,
Yeah.
and then the big bads.
The first, so there's a few things where you think, oh, it's kicking off now. Oh, it's kicking off now. There's a few like minor skirmishes, but I think as soon as the outside enforcers start shooting people through the windows, that's kind of when it kicks off.
Yeah.
And then you get like a whole floor fight, a brawl,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's this it slows down when they all hide and these guys walk in with machetes. Do you know? And they're like looking at the bodies, like, and
Yeah.
like, so like somber music, like, dun, 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 and it like pans across them, and they're all like, and you're like, oh, these guys mean business. And then
Yeah.
you're like, so that's like leveling up to the next boss.
Yeah, like it's very clearly an action movie, but that moment with the machete guys stalking the hallway is very horror inflected, I think.
Yeah.
Um.
Oh, when he's walking down, like tapping the machete on the wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cank, cank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously when the machete guy's stabbing the fake wall where Rama
Oh my
and Boa
God, yeah.
are hiding,
Yeah.
and just the
He gets his so in that scene, Rama gets his face cut,
yeah
and the machete's still in his face in the wall, and he has to like put his hand up and hold the blade so that when he gets pulled out, it wipes it clean.
yes
Because otherwise there'd be blood on it.
yeah, and it would give the game away.
Yeah.
But the level of calculation involved to have the presence of mind for that character to do that,
Yeah.
and then also how it's communicated visually is just so good. It's just
He
it's
gets to decide
perfect.
whether he's going to take his hand off the guy who's like moaning in pain.
Yeah.
In order to do it, it's so
Yeah.
tense.
I guess this isn't exactly a typical film for us. I guess maybe 10% of the films we've done have been action.
Yeah, I'd compare this
focused.
to maybe like Die Hard, maybe like
Yeah.
Crank to
Yeah.
an extent.
Yeah, Speed. It's in that vein.
Where the rules are clear, it's fine. Like it's a high concept movie. You can describe the plot in an elevator. You can
Yeah.
describe the plot of this in the time it takes you to press the button for the elevator.
Yeah, exactly. It's despite it not being a horror movie, it's basically as pure a survival movie as we've ever done. And Gareth Evans himself actually describes it as a survival horror and not a martial arts film, which is
I
quite
believe that,
interesting.
yeah.
But the martial arts is obviously a huge focus. And I've said it before, but there's just something unbelievably thrilling
Yeah.
about watching people who are experts doing things expertly.
Yeah. Well, as you know, the reason we're doing martial arts season on the How to Survive podcast is
Yeah.
because I'm something of a martial artist myself.
Absolutely, yeah.
I've been training MMA for about 4 months now, and let
Mhm.
me tell you, seeing people at my level compete in that way is is really encouraging.
Yeah, it's great. And you're training so that you can go into your local block of flats
Yeah.
and fight your way up to the top
Yeah.
and defeat the drug lord.
I'll tell you what we haven't learned yet, which appears to be a move that every single person in this movie knows, is how to catch someone's kick and then throw their entire body like stiff as a board into a pillar.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That move? So that
yes.
he'll grab his leg and then just twist
Swing,
it
yeah.
and swing his like off the ground, but like it's.
I want to get into that a little bit later. But yes,
I'd say what the craziest thing, and if I could work out how to do this, it'd be great. Is
yeah.
he runs at a guy at one point, grabs him around the back of the head, pushes off the wall, and
Yeah.
smashes his head into the
Shards of a broken door
and
yeah.
kills him. But
Yeah.
even to just do that onto the floor would kill him.
Yeah.
What a move.
yeah, it would. Yeah. I mean, most like incidental moments of violence would kill people in this film.
Yeah, I think the knife scenes are pretty harrowing when he's
Yeah.
like fighting them with a knife, and like it's just like he's like, you know, in the Gangs of New York when like he's like ears and noses will be the trophies of the day, right? It's like pieces of thigh flesh will be the
Yeah.
trophies
Shards
of the
of
day.
your thigh bone
Yeah.
will be the order
He
of
just
the day.
every single person they'll try and kick him, and as their legs in the air, he just sticks it in the hip, and takes it out at the knee.
Yeah. It's that there is one in particular where he stabs it in and drags it down the length of his thigh.
Yeah.
And you're like,
That's not
oh
a special effect.
oh
He
my
actually
God.
must have done that.
It's the best documentary I've ever seen. What I like is that there's a real contrast between the pristine skill involved with the fighting and how grimy and violent the film is.
Right.
So, if you think of classical martial arts movies, they're all in dojos, everyone's in robes, and it's like one man, and it's, everything comes down to like a couple of punches and then the people are unconscious.
Right.
In this, it's like just harrowing violence for
It's
90 minutes.
It's sort of like, the playground scene in Matrix Reloaded, I think, with all the digital Agent Smiths.
Yeah.
It's like that, but not digital.
Yeah, and not nonsense.
Shit,
Yeah. It's fantastic.
It's rare to watch a movie which has you like wincing, laughing, and gasping at the same time for a full 90 minutes.
Yeah. We should talk about the fighting, obviously. Because there's...
What do you want to know?
Well, there's a level of detail and coherence to all the fight scenes and like a clarity of communication in them.
You said to me that you texted me when you're watching it saying that you feel like it's clear enough what's happening that you could learn it.
Yeah. Like
it's
it does,
instructional.
It almost does feel like that.
Yeah.
But it's to the extent where another thing that I always, every time I see it, I think is really great is in one of the showpiece scenes, it's him versus four guys who have machetes in a corridor.
Yeah.
And the first guy...
He's got no machete.
He's got no machete. The first guy runs at him and he like dodges out of the way of his machete swing, disarms him, and then the machete falls on the floor and there's a shot of Rama's foot coming down on it and like sweeping it to the like back of the corridor away from the rest of them. And in that moment, you're like, he has a tactic.
Yeah.
He has looked at the situation and he has gone, what I need to do
is get rid of their
machetes. Get them, which is an obvious and fair thing.
Yeah.
But
I think a simpler film would have just said he tries to fight them and wrestle the machete off him, sort of thing. Right?
Yeah, but it's like I've never seen a film with a chaotic fight scene like that where instantly it establishes what his tactic is.
Yeah.
And you don't get that in it never descends into the sort of crazed fighting that you see in so many action films where you lose track completely, of who is where and what's going on, and it's just.
I mean, compare this
fantastic.
with something like Transformers and how that kind of movie does action, where it's just large objects smash against each other with loud sounds for 2 hours.
Yeah. Well, and also, even things like the Bourne films, which sort of revolutionized how...
There's moments in this where you can see a Bourne influence kind of thing.
Yeah.
For instance, riding a body down a,
Yeah.
That does happen in both films.
Yeah.
And there's, it's using your surroundings to enact sudden violence on your opponent. That's a very Bourne-esque thing, but this does it in a better way, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't think Bourne ever becomes confusing. Certainly not the
I
first
don't know.
one.
I think the latter films cut with such frequency.
Right, like Taken 3, where it's just like...
Yeah, no, it is. At university, we once did this exercise where we watched 90 seconds of the second Bourne film,
right,
and had to count the cuts, and then watched 90 seconds of like another film, which had no cut. Yeah. And I think there was something like 84.
No, 90 seconds.
In 90 seconds, and it's during the car chase in the Bourne Supremacy.
Right.
And it is just, it cuts literally every second. But you don't get that in this. The shots are quite long. And I've heard Gareth Evans talking about it, and the way he shoots is like how Jackie Chan shoots fight scenes, in that they'll have one setup, right? So Gareth Evans won't shoot for coverage, as they call it. So, you won't have, I'll just get a wide, I'll just get, a few angles.
So you can cut out to the wide.
If you need it, right? He doesn't do that because he knows exactly what the in and out point of every shot is going to be.
So
as he
storyboards it before maybe or something.
Right.
Yeah.
And so a shot might last 10 seconds of choreography, But the point is that he'll just do that 10 seconds over and over and over again until he has that 10-second chunk perfect, and then moves on to the next one.
And I imagine with like the people in the film who or also the choreographers, it's going to be quite easy to get those shots.
Yes.
Also, the camera does a lot of the work as well. There's a lot. So if someone gets flipped over, the camera tends to follow their
movement,
their orientation.
Yeah.
Like someone will get flipped onto their back onto a table,
Yeah.
and this camera will flip with them, and then suddenly stop, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you think of Mad Dog?
He's incredible, isn't he? He's just like,
Terrifying.
yeah, he's a mad dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like he's like one line in the film, the whole film, where he's like, he has other lines, but the one that stands out is like, he putting a gun away, and he's like, I don't like to use this; it's too impersonal. And
Yeah,
then
it
just,
takes the fun out of it.
Yeah, and then proceeds to just fight a guy to death.
Yeah. The thing I love about all the fight scenes with Mad Dog is that obviously it's incredible to watch, but it's like he's so good that he like ruins everyone else's skill.
Yeah.
And so everyone else just descends because they're just being beaten up.
Yeah, they just
beaten
panic.
senseless.
Yeah.
They start panicking, and because Mad Dog is about 5 foot, it looks, they end up like every scene. Yeah, every scene involving Mad Dog. At some point, the person fighting him will like pick him up and just like launch him across the room because they can. But then like it doesn't really help them.
He just like I noticed when he lands with his like hips in like the air, his butt in the air, so he's just ready to spring back up again instantly.
Right. Were you taking notes?
I was, yeah. I was like, watch what they're because like there's not much ground wrestling in this.
No,
it's a lot of like standing fighting, and if it goes to ground, it's usually to choke someone like hands down. Which, and I was like, if that happened in an MMA fight, if I was like on top of you, choking you with my hands around your neck, you'd just bump me up. And that's exactly what happens in the film. And I was like, yes, I could win this film.
Yeah. I'd love to see the remake of this with you in it.
With me as Mad Dog.
Yeah.
But I know, I like as well that Mad Dog it took 2 people to beat him.
Yeah.
There's not like...
2 people and for him to get stabbed in the neck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that's, I don't know. What's the main guy's name?
Rama,
right? Rama, you expect the final showdown to be Rama against Mad Dog. It's like building up to that, like it's like a boss fight.
Yeah.
But then you realise that just couldn't possibly happen.
Yeah. This film also obeys, or that fight specifically, after Mad Dog gets stabbed in the neck, it obeys what is now becoming a How to Survive rule that if you're slipping around on your own blood, then you're in serious trouble, whether you're good at martial arts or not. And the martial arts discipline, by the way, is called Silat or Silat. Again, by the way, blanket apologies for any mispronounced
Indonesian words.
Yeah. I don't speak Indonesian. I don't believe you do either.
No, only hello.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it, that Gareth Evans, a Welsh man.
Yeah, he lived in Indonesia for a while and made some films there, right?
Yeah, so he's a martial arts fan. He says he watched Enter the Dragon when he was like 6 years old and became hooked.
Does he do it himself? Does he fight?
Not that I'm aware of.
He just likes it.
Well, I think he likes it from a sort of... He likes martial arts movies.
Right, I see. So he's a fan of martial arts films, but not a fan of...
Well, I just don't know whether or not he practices it himself.
Speak for the man. You need to be ready to answer these questions.
Yeah, as far as I know, he doesn't do any martial arts himself. He just films them spectacularly.
Yeah.
He made a film in 2006 in Wales called Footsteps, which is just like a social realist drama, and it was pretty poorly received. And after that, went back to just having a desk job.
Really?
Yeah.
That bad?
Well, I think it was like a passion project, or I want to make a film, and then he made a film. It didn't work out, so he had a wife to support, an Indonesian wife, and she suggested, because they were sort of a bit bored in Swansea, that they moved to Jakarta to be with her family.
Yeah.
And she had a connection who was producing a documentary on martial arts, a documentary series, and one of the episodes was on Silat. So he moved out to Jakarta to work on this documentary series. Silat, by the way, is like I think it's known as a sort of kind of street fighting in the sense that it's very quick and it's very dirty, like anything goes.
Yeah, it does seem that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Eye gouges and stuff.
Exactly right. And he met Iko Uwais. Again, I'm sorry for obviously mispronouncing his name. Who's one of the students of Silat that they featured in the documentary.
Yeah.
And at the time he
plays Rama.
Yeah. He was a driver and an ex-footballer as well.
Really?
Yeah.
He's a hell of an athlete. Like, so
yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if he plays all sports.
Right. They sort of struck up a working relationship, and their first film that they made together was called Merantau, which is a Indonesian martial arts movie. Very like classical in style, so is much more
Enter the Dragon than
or much more a standard example of the genre. It's set in the modern day, so it's not like mythical
Crouching Tiger, Hidden
right
Dragon.
exactly yeah. But Merantau was criticised by martial arts fans for being too soft, and they turned against Iko Uwais because they said he'd get his arse kicked. So
really,
yeah. So Gareth Evans, in an interview that I read, said that they upped their game with the raid
a little bit.
And
have you seen Mario?
No, I watched it. I watched a bit of it on YouTube. There are some clips available, and it's there's a fight between essentially Rama and Mad Dog in a lift.
Yeah,
and it's the choreography is excellent, but it is notable in the sense that it's quite bloodless,
right? Okay.
In comparison with the raid.
Well, so is everything else, though.
Yeah, so are most films. And during the raid, basically all the actors, because they wanted to sell the violence more effectively, they all agreed that they were happy with the risk of being punched in the face.
Because I was going to say, it looks like they're sparring. It doesn't look like, as much as it's choreographed, they do appear to be actually
hitting each other. Yeah. I believe that is the case. Yeah.
I mean, not like as hard as they pretend to be, but there's contact being made for sure.
Yeah, definitely. There was actually an injury. A significant injury.
Oh, no.
In the production of the raid, which was during the filming of the scene where a man gets thrown onto a banister rail and breaks his back.
Yeah, fuck.
So this is what Gareth Evans said. It's a composite of 3 different takes, but he did get injured really badly. The first take we did, the guys controlling the wires pulled him too hard, so when he jumped, instead of coming down at a nice angle, he went straight across and smashed the back of his head against the wall. The wire went free, and when he fell, he missed all the crash mats, landing 5 meters down onto concrete. He was unconscious for 10 minutes. We sent him to hospital, and 4 days later, he was back on set.
Fucking hell. And get the other 2 shots.
This time he did it perfectly. But there are moments when even the most simple stunt can go wrong. So sometimes, shit goes bad.
Fucking hell. There's a lot of wire work, is there?
Well, I'd imagine it's all just any parts where people are falling which it's not that frequent, is it?
No, I guess there's a few defenestrations, but...
Yeah.
There's one part where it's quite early on. A guy, it's when they're dropping down into like the new floor, they're leveling down, so to speak. There's a guy who's one of the goons who like drops down, and before he even touches the ground, someone just spears him out the window.
Yeah, which is great.
Great, see you later.
Yes. So do you reckon this is the best action movie ever?
Well, I remembered before I watched it, I remembered it being like a scene with them pulling up in the van, which is all the scene setting, followed by 89 minutes of non-stop action. And it's not far from that.
Yeah.
Like we said, there's story in it, but the story is cursory. I think you can compare its energy to something like Crank, but it's a lot more serious than Crank.
Yeah.
And there is humour in it, but the humour tends to be more like visual gags, like the good thing I just mentioned about the guy just getting dumped out the window.
Yeah.
Or you like grimacing when someone gets their leg cut open. But it's funny in a kind of like, if you like that kind of movie, you'll find it funny.
Yeah.
Like Brain Dead is funny, even though it's so disgustingly gory.
Yeah, or just it's hard. It's almost like you're not exactly laughing at it, but it's like
There's a slapstick element to it.
yeah, I guess so. It's a similar thing with John Wick, right?
Right. So John Wick is another movie I mentioned here, but John Wick opens with about half an hour of plot development.
Right.
So there's some foreplay to the action.
Even though the plot is man's dog gets killed, so he goes mental.
Yeah, but like what I like about John Wick is you get warmed up because everyone's like,
Oh my god, it's
John Wick. Yeah,
Right.
like, they killed his dog. Oh,
Yeah, and while that conversation's happening, it's cut with a scene where John Wick is breaking the floor of his basement with a sledgehammer to get the guns that he's buried under there.
mate,
Oh,
what
so
a film!
good.
I like a friend of mine said that when he watched John Wick, he's like, there's like an anime thing to it where
Right.
like every time someone hears John Wick's name, they do like a double gasp.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Baba Yaga.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, John Wick loses action points for the fact that it has more story.
There's a 29 wasted minutes.
Yeah, exactly. There's world building in John Wick. There's in like, when you come in this
the
hotel,
Continental, yeah.
yeah, exactly, right.
Yeah.
And you've got like various supporting actors from The Wire appearing in,
Yeah,
and you're like, well,
mate,
it'd be better if
you
they
haven't
were
seen the
getting beaten
second
up.
one yet, have
That's
you?
true. Yeah,
Wait until you see who pops up in that. Oh, you'll be loving it.
Yeah?
You're in for an absolute treat.
I know Common's in it.
No, it's not that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you will love it.
Okay. Well, you might also say, there's good action in something like Fate of the Furious, the latter Fast and the Furious movies, where it is more like spectacle.
Yeah, but that is just like bombastic.
It is, but then
Yeah.
you've also got like, I've only seen the beginning of Fate of the Furious twice.
Right.
I
Why?
watched it on a plane and fell asleep, and I was like, I want to watch this film. I got home and fell asleep because I was jet lagged, and I've
Right.
never really revisited it. But it's properly like over the top cliche,
Like absurdist.
yeah, like Vin Diesel is in a crash, and The Rock's like, I can't remember his name, Dominic something or other, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like Dominic. Dominic Smith. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Dominic Smith's gone rogue. And you're like, oh, fucking come on. You know what you're in for, but
Yeah.
And then there's lots of like saccharine stuff about like, no, we're family.
Yeah, exactly.
Which the raid does have elements of that.
Yeah.
But it's 1 second of that to every like 40 minutes of action.
Yeah. Like if you came home from the pub with a few mates,
Yeah.
you might put John Wick on, but you'd skip the first half hour.
You'd have to.
Unless you're watching it just to laugh at it because it's so absurd.
All right, yeah.
You probably would put on a Fast and Furious film, but again, I think it would lose you a little bit in the sort of the plot.
I don't know, if I was putting Kung Fu in it, it'd be like probably properly corny 70s martial arts. Like,
But
if you're at the pub
if you're at the pub with a mate,
yeah,
and they were like, "Oh yeah, I like action movies," and they'd never seen The Raid,
yeah,
you'd be sticking it on because it's the
really,
perfect film to watch after. I mean, it's the perfect film
to watch any time of day. Yeah,
exactly.
Sunday morning, stick it on.
Yeah.
It's Wednesday evening. You've had a tough week so far. You're over the hump. Stick it on.
Yeah,
It's Friday night. You're getting ready to go out.
yeah.
Stick it on. Do you watch any 70s Kung Fu? Have you watched any?
No, not really.
There's a really good one called Black Samurai
Yeah.
with Jim Kelly, who was in Enter the Dragon.
Okay.
It's fucking like that's my favorite. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Like,
Do they
it's-
still have this sort of like whoop-ah
Yeah.
sounds?
And It's,
See, that's
it's
that.
dubbed as well, so it's like
Yeah.
his mouth's not moving, but he's like saying like, "Come on, chump, show me what you got." And you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, fine. I'm fine with that. It's just like they've shot it on someone's handheld like video camera,
Yeah.
and then
But
dubbed it.
inexplicably, like 5 of the world's best martial
Yeah,
artists.
right. Speaking of that, though, right, the best martial artists, everyone in the raid could be a champion martial artist by the looks of it. Even
Yeah.
all the hired goons are like insanely good at martial arts.
Yeah.
Is that the case for everyone in Indonesia?
I assume so.
Yeah. Because the national sport of Thailand is like Muay Thai. So like, there's a lot of people who would be really good at kickboxing.
Yeah.
So you don't start anything in Thailand and you get your head kicked.
Yeah. Don't start anything in Jakarta because
You'll
you
get,
get sillatted.
you'll get put through a window.
Yeah. Now, I have a theory, and I genuinely can't remember whether this is wholly my own theory or if I read something somewhere, and I've slightly adopted it, I guess.
Right.
And I'm sure I'm not the first person to think this, right?
We're descended from apes.
Right. But basically, I think that martial arts movies function in an identical way to musicals.
Okay. An identical way.
Yeah, so musicals are popular because they use song and dance to entertain and to tell a story, right? And often the stories that surround the musical are fairly rote, like your standard romantic.
Boy meets girl.
Right, exactly. Right. And sometimes the song and dance numbers are what are called production numbers, where the story stops and you have a song and then it moves on, right? And that's true of classical musicals like Singing in the Rain, which has the beautiful girls bit, which is like just bizarre. Or the
but that's meant to be bizarre, isn't it? Singing in the Rain's a bit of a
no, but then later on there's the gotta dance bit as well.
I think Singing in the Rain's a bit of an exception because it's a pastiche.
It's a revision.
It's what Good, the Bad and the Ugly is.
It's true, yeah, but then also it is held up as like a gold standard of musical.
Yeah, but because it does. Oh yeah, okay. So Mary Poppins maybe a better example then.
Yeah, well, I guess so, but I mean, they're all. I think they're all fair examples.
Yeah.
But similarly, you have martial arts movies. They have fight scenes, and some of them advance the story, and others are clearly production numbers. In the same way,
yeah.
In that they're just there to show off the skill of the people involved and to show off the ability of the crew to stage choreography scenes.
Yeah.
Right. The appeal of musicals comes from watching the people, right? The stars, the performers.
Yeah.
Right? Because typically in a musical you have actors who are triple threats, right? So this is like a term from the golden age of Hollywood.
Yeah.
So like a triple threat would be someone who could sing, dance and act.
Yeah.
Right? You have exactly the same thing now with action movies because you have actors who are lauded for doing their own stunts.
Yeah.
For example, Tom Cruise in the Mission Impossible franchise. That whole narrative of Tom Cruise doing his own stunts becomes like a marketing exercise to
Tom
see
Cruise
the film.
Hang off the side of a plane while it takes off.
Right, and it is a good reason to see the film. And you also have it in the likes of Keanu Reeves and John Wick, where he has committed entirely to this intense training regime to perfect this discipline.
Same with The Matrix as well.
Right, so yeah. Same with The Matrix, same with The Raid, right? The appeal of watching The Raid is that everyone in it is a master of their craft, right? Basically, I think that if you took the structure of a martial arts movie such as The Raid and compared it to the structure of a musical, they line up like very clearly.
I see what you mean. So I did see what you mean. So you said there's songs and musicals that are kind of like
so some songs would be like I'm wooing the girl.
Yeah.
And now
like
at the
a
end
literal
of the song,
serenade, which is
and then at the end of the song we're in love.
Yeah.
Right? And in a fight scene, in a martial arts movie, you might have, man versus mad dog, and at the end of the fight scene, one of them is dead. Right. And then you also have fight scenes which don't meaningfully advance the plot.
Right. So like the thing in the drug room, for instance, that didn't need to happen.
That is literally just we have an idea for a fight scene.
Yeah.
So let's do
it on tables. Let's do it. Right. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And you have the different styles of fighting. So you have the white-haired guys like just basically just like slamming people into walls.
Yeah.
And you have production numbers in musicals, which are the things where it's, let's just ignore the story for 5 minutes
and have someone do a crazy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah. And the best of both, like, have this coalescence of, quality of production with star factor and talent.
And relevant to the story.
Well, no. I mean the best of both musicals and fight
film.
scenes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Like they you can't have a good martial arts film. Like martial arts films live and die on their stars,
Yeah.
as do musicals.
Yeah, and their skills.
Right.
Yeah. You wouldn't, I mean, like, Les Mis, the movie, is shit because of the, like,
Most of them can't sing,
yeah, correct.
and also it's
totally-
not it's staged in a way that doesn't fit it being a musical.
correct.
Right.
Whereas if they were kicking the shit out of each other, that's what you're saying, right?
Yes, exactly
Yeah.
right. Yeah. If Cary Grant had like fucking battered Carrie Fisher's mum in a Silat fight scene and singing in the rain, then people would still be talking about it to this day.
Yeah. Oh man, so there you go.
So with all that said, Joe,
What about both though? What about if it was
a singing musical
fight
martial arts
movie?
film?
Like,
Do you
that'd
know
be
what?
Fucking great.
I looked it up and it doesn't exist. So maybe that's how you.
Mate, let's go to Broadway.
Yeah.
The Raid, the musical. I'm Mad Dog. Yeah. I'm coming up the stairs.
Who let Mad Dog out?
Yeah, man. But then that's a different type of musical
Yeah,
as well.
it's
So,
a
like,
jukebox musical.
jukebox, is that what it's called?
Yeah, yeah.
Fucking hell, man. You know all about the musicals.
There you go.
Film degree, yeah? Say what you want, right? I'm down with the mission for this movie, right?
Yeah,
I was totally on the side of the right people.
yeah.
The good guys should win. The bad guys shouldn't win. But when you think about it for more than 5 seconds,
Yeah.
they're not good people. I mean, both sides are kind of blurred, right? Because the police arrive at the venue, and they're like, right, let's just go in there and get everyone. And
Well,
they start by garroting a child.
is he a child? I thought he was
He's
an
watching
adult.
cartoons.
Yeah, you watch cartoons.
Yes.
Are you a child?
Yes. But like,
I think he's an adult.
right. So an unarmed man.
He's got a machine gun. There's a
He's
machine
not
gun
using
next
it,
to
though.
Right, yeah, but they don't kill him.
They do.
No. I don't think they kill anyone until
They open fire
Lieutenant
on
Yu shoots the kid who's about to raise the alarm.
them. Right.
I think that's the reason that's given so much gravity
Right.
as he like
The bullet moving through the air, then
And
through
through
his
his
neck in
neck,
slow
yeah.
motion.
yeah. But I take your point. But I think
Mm.
they don't start killing anyone until they're being massacred by machine guns.
Right. My point is, right, the police team proceed to kill literally dozens of men.
Mm-hmm.
Many of them,
contest. Yeah.
many of them unarmed,
Yes.
with no warrant and no due process. There's no one gets their rights read to them. They just get like their legs cut up, their spines broken, and then they're just left for dead. Imagine like the police came around to investigate something tonight, right? Imagine you were a suspect in a crime, shoplifting, for
Yeah.
instance, right?
Yeah.
Knock at the door and you go, "Officer, how can I help?" And he just goes, "Right, sunshine." Right? And you just, he just
Yeah.
kicks you in the head so hard your neck breaks,
Yeah.
and then just walks off. That's the
Imagine that you knock on the door,
Yeah.
like, police. You go downstairs and it's Eco Ice. And you're like, oh no,
Yeah.
I know where this is going.
at the beginning when he's working the punch bag. He's making like 50,000 strikes a minute.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah. How often do you think he goes through punch bags?
It tears in the shred.
Yeah.
I've seen Manny Pacquiao training, and it's similar. It's like, how can you get that many punches out?
Mm.
If I do it, it's like 1, 2. It's like they do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Yeah.
and then more of that, please.
Yeah. There's a bit in the film, I think, where he does the like speed punching on
Yeah.
someone, doesn't it? And it looks like you're being
Hit with a machine gun.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do understand though. It's not justice, Joe, is it? But
No.
then I think in mitigation, I would say that the lieutenant in charge of the operation is corrupt anyway, and he wants to go in there and massacre everyone, and the other people are, part of a hierarchical structure in the law enforcement, and so they're subject to orders. And given that they don't open fire on people until the lieutenant shot a child to death.
Yeah. So in fact, the police shot first.
Yeah. But again, a policeman with corrupt
Yeah.
ideology.
Yeah. One movie I was reminded of was The Departed.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's the betrayal aspects to it.
Yeah.
And the who's working for who sort of thing.
Unexpected shooting people in the head.
Yeah, exactly. But there's
Yeah.
also a line that Jack Nicholson says in that movie, which is something I can't remember the exact quote, but it's something like, "When I was growing up, you're either going to be a criminal or a policeman."
Yeah.
And when I say, when you're looking down the barrel of the gun, what's the
What's
difference?
the difference?
When you're looking down the barrel of a gun.
When you're
what's the
looking down
difference?
the barrel of a gun. Have you ever looked down the barrel of a gun?
Asked him to look down yours. That's a good film.
Yeah.
It's a fucking good film.
Yeah. What, Departed?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is
I
very
think it's
good.
like, I always think it's like modern Shakespeare, that film. It's so good.
It is very good. So with all that said, Joe, in this survival horror movie, it's nothing else. How would you survive the horror?
First one's for Riardi, who is the owner of the property.
The drug baron.
Yeah. The big bad.
Yeah.
Don't goad the guy with the gun.
Yes.
He's got you in handcuffs, the top of the stairs. He can push you down the stairs. He's, he's obviously...
He's in control.
Yeah, he's in control, and he's also a loose cannon.
Yeah.
Don't be like, you tell you what, mate, you've got nothing to live for.
Exactly, yeah. I was thinking that actually when I was watching it, because if he says nothing, they walk out the building, the guy gets killed, and Riardi just walks back into his building anyway.
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's like, he has no need to bargain, and only does himself a disservice because he ends up shot in the face.
His whole thing outlining what's going to happen is that he's like, oh, well, mate, when we get down to the station, they're just going to kill you.
Yeah.
And because I'm mates with all of them anyway.
Yeah. What you should just say is, shoot me in the face.
Yeah, but if you say to someone, oh, if you do this, you're going to get killed, they're not going to carry on with that, are they? That's not going to continue to be their plan.
Yeah.
So if he's like, oh, yeah, he should have gone like, oh, no, don't take me down to the station. I hate it there.
Please, I'm begging you.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll give you anything you want. I'll give you this money.
Yeah.
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 But he's not bargaining. He's just like, you fucked up.
Yeah, you fucking
Don't
idiot.
make the guy who's like lost everything feel bad about and angry with you specifically.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's my advice to him.
That is poorly thought out.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. No, I like it. And yeah, just by keeping Sturm, he would have got out of there alive.
Yeah.
My advice is for the well, actually, it should be obvious who it's for. Just move somewhere else, for God's sake.
What's in it for you? Yeah.
The one law-abiding tenant.
Right, the clean shirt.
Yeah. Right. As we'll call him. What on earth is he getting out of living there? Right.
It can't be pleasant.
No,
the neighbours are all on like heroin,
just running around with machetes.
Yeah.
Right. It is beyond belief that him and his wife have not been killed yet.
Yeah.
Right. They live in a building full of violent criminals.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I just keep myself to myself. Don't worry about anything else. That's nothing to do with me. I just tend to my sick wife. Do you think he's lived there in that building for years?
Well, he's born there. And like the place has really gone to hell lately.
Yeah, it's like, this is going downhill, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you imagine how many times he could have left before that.
Yeah.
When there's like, they've started using children as like early warning lookouts for police raids. Maybe this isn't the safest place for me and my ailing wife.
Is she ailing or pregnant?
I thought she was unwell because he's getting her medication.
When the guy comes in and just like looks under the mattress with the woman laying on it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Right. Is there literally nowhere else in Jakarta that they could live?
Yeah, it's a big place.
Because I can only assume that there must be like a single...
I mean, he looks like a clean shit. Maybe he's like the accountant for the firm.
But he doesn't... we see nothing to indicate that he's in league with any of them. He doesn't seem to like... and the people don't give him any respect where they're like turning out his flat.
Smashing
his
up
one
his like
room.
mantelpiece.
Yeah. Right. Speaking of the mantelpiece, what sort of weird decorating decision is that?
What do you mean, having just three, like... Well, you mean the design of the place?
No, the fake wall that he's had installed.
Well, that's for hiding...
For what? He doesn't have anything in there.
Well, maybe this is a thing. Like he knows the place has gone to shit, and one day they're gonna kick the door down and he needs somewhere to hide.
Right. I'd like light a TV on and stuff, like kettle boiling. Where have they gone?
Yeah.
Who could say?
Yeah.
Do you think that was his plan? And now he's seen that the first thing the guy did when he came into the room was start stabbing the wall.
Like pop-up pirate.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, just move. Just go live somewhere else in Jakarta.
Do you think that maybe he has economic restraints on him?
But how restrained must you be to live in that situation?
I don't know. I don't.
Because he can't be living there rent free either.
Yeah. Some of the people who live in that building are in rags,
Yeah.
and he's wearing a shirt and tie, basically.
Yeah.
A clean shirt.
Like, I can't imagine that place is sanitary.
No.
I don't.
That's why his wife's sick. Maybe
What-
botulism or something.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing in it for him.
Yeah.
Like, they must have problems with damp.
I don't know.
Like,
It's quite an arid environment, I imagine. I don't know.
yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Everyone's sweating in this movie
Yeah.
all the time.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, well, fair enough. I think I agree. If he can get out of it, he should. But I don't know if he can.
You would think that the only reason that he is there is because he's stuck there, but still, he's a fool.
Quick throwaway one, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Quite an effective tool that they use is lighting the propane tank on fire and using the fridge to blow up a whole corridor of people.
Yeah.
Just do that more often.
Do it every time.
Yeah. Go in every room of the building and just do that.
What I would say is that it does fuck them up a lot.
It's
Well.
it's got a hell of a kick.
Yeah. How many of those do you think they have in them?
Like an explosion in front of you that's so loud it knocks you out.
Yeah. The concussive force of it.
Yeah, maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
I
mean,
agree.
so-
I guess he needed the grenade, so maybe have
that's
more
true.
grenades.
Well, yeah, but he's
Mate, why didn't they just use the grenade?
well, that's true.
They need to blow the door through.
Yeah, why didn't they just?
Because the force of the explosion
blows
blasts
the
the door down.
right, and like
Right.
vaporizes everyone out.
Yeah.
No, but isn't it that they open the door,
No, they open the fridge door
right?
and then put it up. So the fridge is kind of a backstop on the explosion to stop them
Yes,
getting it
yeah.
blown up.
Yeah, that's armor plating for the back end of the explosion.
Yeah,
Right.
but then it turns the fridge into a projectile.
Yeah.
So
So it like knocks them all unconscious.
yeah,
It's a great scene. It's a great scene. Get on board with it.
I'm fine with it. I'm just saying, do more of it.
Yeah. Just do that every fight scene ends with a fridge blowing up.
Yeah. As soon
Yeah.
as someone gets the better of someone, it's like get the fridge.
Yeah. I think it's probably just limited resources, do you think? It doesn't seem like every room has a fridge or a propane tank in it.
And he's only got one grenade, maybe.
And
How many grenades do you need for a building raid?
was it like a incendiary grenade or like a
don't know.
flash grenade?
I don't know, man. I don't know my grenades that well.
Well, why not?
It's never come up.
when you do that in MMA.
Yeah.
My next survival idea is just for the majority of the people who are in the building to have a look at their fighting style, because every single fight scene starts with someone running at Rama, and
Right.
Rama basically uses their momentum to fling them like
Yeah.
300 yards.
There's a saying in a book about sword fighting, which is
Mhm.
your opponent's sword is your sword,
Right.
which is to say you can use their thrust against them.
Mm-hmm.
If I try and slash at you with a knife, you can hinge my arm in a way that makes me stab myself,
Yeah.
and that happens in the movie
Yes, that is true.
to everyone who runs it with a knife.
yeah. They are fighting in a not coordinated, mad.
They're
fashion.
windmilling, but with weapons.
Yeah, and yet they seem to have some sort of martial arts proficiency. A lot of them.
Yeah. Do you remember my Tekken motto?
Go on.
Invite them to dinner and then feed them. Right?
Do you want to explain why you have a Tekken motto?
I'm good at Tekken, man. It's like
Yeah.
my thing.
Yeah.
So Tekken, the PlayStation game,
Yeah.
fighting, two people stand up and fight. Robots sometimes pandas,
Yeah.
but
A lion.
no, he's not a lion. He's a man in a mask.
Right. but he's called Lion.
No, he's called King.
Right.
Yeah.
Is he a king?
He's a wrestler, a luchador,
Right. I see.
Mexican wrestler. So
Okay.
he's called King there.
Fine.
There's also Armor King and King 2 and Armor King 2.
Jack 5.
Yeah, there's Jack 1 through 7 now, I think.
Right.
There's also P-Jack, who was the prototype.
Right. It's good. It's taken 179 episodes, and finally your knowledge of Tekken lore is coming out.
Yeah. So my point is, you've played me on Tekken.
Yeah.
Did you win?
I think I must have beaten you once.
Yeah. It's a
You had a long-standing bet for a while that anyone who beat you at Tekken across 2 rounds, you'd buy them dinner.
yeah.
Did that ever happen?
I think it's the same. Like you're saying, like someone must have got me eventually. I think it
Right.
was Callum,
Okay.
a friend of ours.
Yeah.
But that's because he went out and bought the game.
Is that true?
Yeah, I think so.
To surprise you.
Yeah. I don't know if it's. I mean, I might be building up his involvement in that. But, my point is, invite them to dinner and feed them. Everyone wants to bring the fight to you,
Yeah.
so let them do it and then just carve them.
That's different from feeding them, isn't it?
Yeah, when they invite them to dinner, so I'm like,
I know
for you
you're a
to-
vegan.
I wait for you to throw a punch at me,
Right.
and then I'll throw one back.
Yeah, break
twice as
every
hard.
bone in your body
Yeah.
instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how would you translate that for, the people who keep flinging? So
they're being invited to dinner.
right. So
They're taking up the invitation.
what you're saying
and
is-
arriving with big
is-
appetites.
is what you're saying is actually decline the invitation and instead invite them.
Yeah,
to dinner.
insist that they eat
Yeah.
at your house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Offer to pay for dinner
yeah,
and
and have it ready when they get there.
yeah. Very good.
My tips for Mad Dog.
Okay.
And the Mad Dog is a skilled technician of the martial arts.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll agree.
Mm-hmm.
But he does do one thing, which is, it's his demise, and it is pretty page one.
Mm-hmm.
He turns his back on his opponent, doesn't he?
Yes. When he gets stabbed in the neck.
Yeah, he puts the rear naked choke on Rama,
That's and
and it
then,
allows Andy time to.
but
grab
he's choking him with a view to snapping his neck, as you see him doing.
He's
too.
just trying to choke him.
I think he's
Mate, the positioning's different. He's got his arm around the
no.
guy's
He
throat.
does initially, and then he starts putting his hand on the back of the guy's
To
head.
just increase the pressure on the choke.
Right.
I can demonstrate it on you if you want.
No, I'm
So what you
good.
do, you get your arm down as far as possible,
Okay.
compress their neck, and then you use this one to force their head down.
Okay. Cinematically, the language of the scene was telling me that he was.
He wasn't doing him any good, was it?
It was drawing a parallel between what happens to Sergeant Jacker earlier in the film, definitely.
But that's different. That was instantaneously.
No, because he gets him up in position,
Yeah,
and then the guy's like trying to fight him off.
So you think it's like Mad Dog's execution?
Yeah, it's what he loves. It's
Right.
his thing,
Right,
definitely.
okay.
I think that's what they're getting at.
And then-
But you may well be right.
Yeah.
I would trust your judgment.
I think if he held that long enough, the guy would die anyway.
right.
He doesn't need to break his neck.
Yeah, but they have a similar thing where he tries to
Mm.
slap him off and can't because he's weakened.
Yeah, and he's also being choked. Yeah, but then the point is he turns his back on his opponent.
Yeah.
Andy gets the it's Andy, not and he.
Yeah,
Andy, the character, gets the fluorescent bulbs and does
in the
him,
neck.
does
yeah.
for him.
Yeah,
If he'd done the whole thing facing Andy,
yeah,
then it would have been fine.
yeah, that's
He'd
true.
have lived to fight another day.
Yeah, he takes too much pleasure in it, maybe as well.
He does
that might
love
be
it.
might be the problem.
Yeah,
He's
Arrogant.
taking too much time to enjoy his work and not just getting it done.
Yeah. Final point, by the way,
Mhm.
for Andy, when he's like at the end, he's like, it's the whole Departed thing of like, oh, what's the difference?
Yeah,
This fits. He says, this fits me.
mm-hmm.
This fits me. I like being a bad guy. I'm going to go back in this building now.
Mm-hmm.
Why? There's nothing in there. Everyone's dead.
Well, the funny thing with that is, I don't know if you remember the Raid 2.
Very vaguely.
So-
I saw that at the cinema. Gareth Edwards. Gareth Edwards?
Gareth Evans.
Yeah. Gareth Evans was there and did a Q&A.
Right.
I don't remember it. But
There you go. Can't have been that interesting.
no.
Yeah, So spoilers, anyone who hasn't seen The Raid 2, this is a spoiler for the first 5 minutes of the film. So The Raid 2 starts 2 hours after the raid, and it opens with Andy being driven into a field and executed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
my
it doesn't
point
work
stands.
out. It doesn't work out for him very well at all.
Why would you bother?
Yeah, he's like, I'm too used to my criminal lifestyle
Yeah.
that only has 2 hours left.
Well, I'm so used to my criminal lifestyle. My boss and colleagues are all dead, and all of our production equipment for our criminal enterprise has been destroyed.
I think isn't it supposed to be like, oh, I can, if I stay here, I can protect my brother by telling criminals not to kill him because I'm in a position of power.
What power though? In what organisation?
I tell you what power he doesn't have, and that's the power to withstand a shotgun blast to the face
Yeah.
in a field.
He also doesn't have the power to leave a 5-star review for this podcast on iTunes, but our listeners do.
Yes, that is true.
None this week. So what's going on, people?
Yeah. So please go on Apple Podcasts or whatever podcatcher you use and leave us a 5-star review because we'd
Yeah.
really appreciate it. And it helps us find a wider audience.
Yes.
And you can also email the show, howtosurviveshow@gmail.com, or tweet us at howtosurvivepod. We've got a few tweets and stuff, but I think we'll do that next week because this has run a little long, and also a lot of people listen to the sorts of films that we're covering next week because next week is Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors.
I think it's just Dream Warriors.
Just Dream Warriors.
Yeah,
I
not the
apologise.
Dream Warriors.
No.
A non-specific group of Dream Warriors.
Yeah, the third in our run of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise came out in 1987.
Yeah.
Um,
Career debut for Patricia Arquette.
Yeah.
Returning to the fray is what's her name?
Nancy.
Nancy, yeah. Who plays her?
Don't know.
Lawrence Fishburne in a career best.
Lawrence Fishburne does not play Nancy. That is misleading.
No.
Thank you very
Robert
much for
England.
listening. Yeah.
For the third time on this podcast.
Thank you very much for listening. And until next time.
Hello.